I was going to say, I danced some of the most beautiful repertoire, like especially in Universal Ballet in Korea. They have a lot of Korean folk ballets, like
Oh,
traditional
okay.
Korean stories, beautiful scores, beautiful choreography. And like they were some of my favorite things to dance. And I would never have got the opportunity to be involved in those if I hadn't moved there. There's opportunities everywhere.
Lewis, it's so great to talk to you, and you haven't changed a bit.
I hope not. I'm trying and trying my best.
Since I saw you last at the Royal Ballet School, um, but so wonderful that we can connect again and talk about your wonderful career and all the great things you are doing at the moment.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Lewis, tell me, what did you do after ballet school?
So when I graduated from the Royal Ballet School, I went to dance in Singapore. It was
Okay.
a bit of a wild card. I just got the opportunity, and I wanted to travel. I wanted to see a bit more of the world and kind of explore and I guess find myself as everyone wants to do after school. And I was like, I can't really pass up the opportunity to like move to Asia and to explore that side of the world. So I moved there. I worked there for 3 years, and then I moved to Seoul. So I danced for Universal Ballet for 8 years, and
Wow.
I fell in love with Korea and Seoul. I just loved it. It was like the best experience, the best people, such a different culture and like different arts culture as well. They have such a different like vision for the art. Not right or wrong, just different.
Yeah, but I always think about this, and I don't think a lot of people realize it, but as young dancers, when you graduate, you are only 17 or 18 years old, and
Yeah,
already then you are going out to, different places because not everybody can stay in the country where they are born or where their family are. So
absolutely.
you are at a very young age, you go far away from your family and you have to start a new life.
Yeah. And I think, to be honest, when I was at school, I really struggled with that because it took me a while to get a job. And I know like a lot of everyone else in my class has kind of got a job, was kind of settled, was really happy. And I was not, and I was really struggling. And I think at the time, I thought it was like the end of the world, like, oh no, like it's not going to happen. But in hindsight, like looking back now, I am so grateful that that had happened and I got the opportunity to move like far away because it shaped me to be the person who I am, and I wouldn't change it for the world. So yeah, it is a really difficult time because as you're right, we're so young and we don't know very much at that age, but
Exactly.
we have to
Yeah.
make such big decisions like.
Yeah.
And
And
also
there's,
as parents, it must be horrible, like
I
with your
know. Yeah.
child, like going away and like, oh, are they going to be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, already it was hard for me when Suzanne and Hanu went to ballet school. I
yeah,
cried my eyes out and because suddenly your child is away and you realize it's their dream and and you just have to allow them to do that. But it
yeah,
is it's one of the art forms where I think where you really have to, from a very young age, do the training and be in that world. So
yeah.
but then again, also the next step is then when you graduate, you have to go out there because there's only so many ballet companies where you can get work.
Yeah. And I think also you can be quite blinkered when you're in an institution like a ballet
Yeah.
school. Like a lot of us were only thinking like the Royal Ballet or Birmingham Royal Ballet. Like you're so like
Yeah.
kind of closed minded. And I remember when in our graduate year, we were asked to kind of write a list. I'm sure Suzanne did the same, write a list of where you would like to go, which companies you want to audition for. And I think quite a lot of people put Royal Ballet as their first one. And I did not, because I was like, there's absolutely no chance that
Oh,
it's going to
really?
happen. Like, I feel like I'm very realistic. Like,
Yeah.
I'm good at what I do, but I know that, There was
Mm.
already like 2 people that had got into the company. There was a long list of people in my class that were going to get there. And as you know, because I was in the same class as Suzanne, there was about
Yeah.
6 or 7 that I think went to the company that year. It was a big,
Mm.
big intake. But I went into Galen Stock's office and she was like, "Oh, I think you're really smart for not putting the Royal Ballet on there because, it is what it is." And I
Mm.
was like, "Yeah,
Mm.
I think it's good to be
Yeah.
realistic, to be honest." So,
And it's
yeah,
also, I think it's also a stigma to think that there's only certain, you do all the training and in fact you are artists and not everybody's going to be suited for
absolutely.
a specific company, so and
Yeah,
you have to allow yourself to see where you end up or where you have to fit, and
yeah.
also be happy. So it cannot be just one company for everybody.
Yeah. And I always have like the saying, like everything happens for a reason. And I truly believe
Yeah.
this. And I wish people would kind of remember that all the time. Like I do think like I wouldn't have met my partner if I hadn't moved to Asia. Like
You
I wouldn't
see.
have my dog. Like there's so many things that like,
Yeah.
I
Mm.
think everything does happen. I was
Mm.
gonna say I dance some of the most beautiful repertoire, like especially in Universal Ballet in Korea. They have a lot of Korean folk ballets, like
Oh,
traditional
okay.
Korean stories, beautiful scores, beautiful choreography, and like they were some of my favorite things to dance. And I would never have got the opportunity to be involved in those if I hadn't moved there. There's opportunities everywhere.
Exactly. But Lewis, how did you originally start dancing? What was the
Ooh,
motivation to do ballet?
it depends who you ask.
Oh, okay.
No, so basically, I was a little bit of a devil child. I had a lot of energy and no real way of kind of channeling that energy. I really struggled with communication when I was younger. Um, and my parents were kind of at a loss as to what to do with me. I think we tried like a lot of different things, like football and other sports, and just none of them worked. And then my parents put me into dance class, and I kind of just took to it a little bit. It was just like a local dance studio. We didn't even do ballet. We did like ballroom and Latin and like
Oh, okay.
competition, like dance. And then we did like ballet, like maybe once every few weeks, just like a little bit like the positions of the feet and tap as well. And my dance teacher told my parents, like, "Oh, like Lewis has quite a good talent. Like, you should really see where it goes and try and like push him." So yeah, it kind of just started from there. And then I went to like a more formal ballet school and then got opportunities. And I think I was lucky as a boy as well, because there are quite a lot of opportunities for young men because there aren't that many
Oh,
of them,
yeah. Yeah.
especially like at my age. I feel like now it's a little bit better. Like guys, young males are more open to try and dance and ballet, but definitely when I was that age, that wasn't really the case. So
I
yeah,
remember Hanu, my son, also, he was the only boy in the ballet class in Taunton,
yeah,
which is more countryside. But yeah, and I think it did change over the years.
yeah,
That
definitely.
more
It can be.
more.
It was a blessing, to be honest, because I got so many
Yeah.
opportunities, and
Mm.
yeah. Mm.
And then you moved on to the ballet school. Was that sort of something you really wanted to do then?
Yeah, so I really wanted to pursue ballet, and it was just like an RAD school. We did like RAD exams, and the teacher
Oh,
kind of
okay.
took a liking to me. She
Mm.
had a couple of other boys that had gone on to the Royal Ballet School, like White Lodge, um, and she just put me through the RAD exams like really quickly. And then um, we always used to drive past Elmhurst in Birmingham, and I was like, "Oh, like what's this new building?" Because it was the first time that they'd moved there. They just moved, and it was kind of this big, impressive building in Edgbaston. And we found out what it was, and my dad just called the school up and said, "Oh, can we have a tour of the school?" And they were like, "Yeah, like come along, have a tour. Why doesn't he bring his ballet stuff and he can like do a audition at the same time?" And we were like, "Oh,
Oh,
okay."
okay.
So I did like an audition.
Mm.
It was just me and a teacher in a studio, and then apparently someone dropped out like the next week or something, and I got a phone call saying that they decided to offer me the spot instead of
Oh,
the people on the
wow.
waiting list, which was amazing. Had no idea that that was going to
Mm.
happen. It just kind of everything just kind of fell into place, and it was meant to be. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
did you grow up near Birmingham?
Yeah, so I live just outside of Birmingham,
Oh,
grown up here
okay.
my whole life. Yeah,
Mm.
so we
So it
used to
was,
drive past this new like building as it was like being constructed and was just intrigued.
so you luckily you were still near your parents, or you could still go home.
Yeah, so I live like 20, 30 minutes away from Elmhurst
Oh,
still
wow.
now. And I used to go home like every weekend or whenever
Yeah.
I could, but I did board and I really enjoyed the boarding
Mm.
experience.
I think
It's
all
something
the
really unique.
but all everybody loves the boarding. Even at White Lodge, also they love the boarding school.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah,
like it's harder for the parents. I'm
it
sure
is. It
it's
is.
probably
Yeah,
harder for you than it is for us. We're like, bye.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I was the one always crying, and then Suzanne would say, "Don't worry, Mom. I'll be home in the weekend again."
Yeah, that
It
sounds
was
about
like,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's to the big city to London. Was that quite a transition for you?
Um, I guess it was, but I guess it's quite a similar experience, like the living situation you're living with all your friends, and
Oh, yeah.
especially like in the first year, you have like your house parents and
Mm.
everything. So I feel like the school kind of do help you to adjust because it is
Oh,
such a
yeah.
big change moving to London,
Mm.
especially for I've never lived in London. I know a lot of people had. But it was just the best 3 years of my life. I can't really say much more than that. It
Yeah.
had its ups and downs, especially
Yeah.
like in the
Yeah.
third year. The whole audition process is
Mm.
horrific, but it was honestly
Mm.
the best 3 years of my life, and I wouldn't change it. And I
Mm.
think one of the things that I love about boarding school and just like the institutions in general is like you have friends for life that are like all around the world. And
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
mean, I met Suzanne only a few months ago. I hadn't seen her for like 10 years, but it's like no time had passed. You just pick up
Mm.
where you left off because that's just what you do,
Yeah.
which
But
is really
I,
great.
I've actually thought about that a lot, how people in the ballet world, the ballet world's so small, really, if you think about it. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
most people, some time in their lives, they got together, or they were at the same company or the same school, or but
You know this
everybody
person who
knows each
knows.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so great, and it's those friendships, that's just everlasting friendships. Like you say, you see somebody for don't see them for 10 years, and then suddenly, and it's like you've got this
Yeah.
common background.
Yeah. Mm. It is a
Okay.
very strange, unique situation, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm.
Lewis, so from in being in the ballet company, what what was then the next step for you?
So I guess the next step kind of happened during COVID. I guess I was kind of assessing my life, and I think like most people in the arts world, I got a bit of a reality check that
Yeah.
I'm not going to dance forever. This is not going to be sustainable long term, and I don't think I really thought about that. They say it during school and in the company a
Yeah.
little bit, but you don't really think about it, and I wish I had a little bit more. But I guess during that time, I really thought about what I wanted to do and kind of where I could channel my creativity. And I struggled with that. I didn't know where. I had a list of like 100 things that I wanted to do, all of which were probably not realistic. Um, and so I decided to do a course at university. So I joined a course at Middlesex University, which was like a research degree, um, kind of exploring anything that you wanted to explore within your professional practice. So for me, that was like ballet. And the subject that I decided to kind of research into was like audience development, because something I'm very passionate about is making the art and ballet specifically more accessible to more people. I feel
Yeah.
like I don't know, I still have this like massive thing with ballet. It's just so elitist. Like even when I go to New York to see my partner, we can get tickets to the opera, to a concert for very reasonable amount, and then the ballet is just ridiculously expensive. It's not accessible to like the majority of people, and I do think it needs to change. Yeah, so I looked into
I
audience.
absolutely agree with you there. I think it's also not just for audiences, but also for children, that it's
Yeah,
that it's that it's more about the art form, really. As like they say, when you were younger, it's a lot about competition and who's going to get into the schools. But then it needs to be also something for that child that's not going to go to a ballet school or not going to become a professional dancer. But
yeah,
I believe in if we nurture also those children, then we have audiences for the future,
yeah,
because they can
absolutely.
appreciate the art form and they understand the art form.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I really looked into in that degree was the subject of ballets. Like a lot of them are old stories and they're classics, and I love dancing them. I love watching them. However, I think there is a generation, the younger generation that are coming up, that just don't connect with those stories anymore. They live in a world where, TV, internet is something that has just consumed their life. And I don't think they're going to engage with stories like that in the same way. So it's what can we do as a community to kind of keep our integrity and our traditions, but put it in a different way. So one of the productions I looked at was Birmingham Royal Ballet's Black Sabbath. I don't know if you know about this, but Black Sabbath are a hard rock band that
Oh yeah,
were,
I know Black Sabbath. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So they're a Birmingham band, massive in Birmingham, and Birmingham Royal Ballet commissioned I think it was a 3-act ballet, with the music from Black Sabbath,
Really?
with different choreographers for each act, I believe. And then they made this amazing piece, and it brought so many people from the local area that were not interested in ballet or whatsoever and just wanted to come for the music, but then went away loving ballet, saying what a
Yeah.
great experience it was, and that they would come back and see a different type of ballet. And I think it's really about kind of melting those popular culture things, stories,
Yes.
um, with a traditional art form, bringing them together. And other companies have done similar things. I think Rambert Ballet did Peaky Blinders. I think they
Oh,
did
I
a
see.
production of
Okay.
Peaky Blinders
Mhm.
when Peaky Blinders was big. So I think that's something that we can work on a little bit more as a community.
Yeah, and I think also, these collaborations with other art forms as well.
Yeah.
I think that's also so important that,
Hmm.
bringing ballet, connecting. Ballet already is a mixture of, the costumes and the music and the dancing and the choreography. But I
Yeah.
think there's more that can be, uh, brought together
Mm. Yeah.
through that
Yeah, definitely.
dance.
I
Mm.
think also something that like a secret passion thing that I really want to do is like virtual reality and like ballet.
Oh
Um,
yes.
Especially for like currently skipping forward a little bit, but currently I work for a dance company here in England called Angeli Dance Company, and they're a learning disabled dance company. But a lot of our audience has like physical disabilities or different things that maybe it's a little bit difficult for them to come to a traditional performance space like a theatre. And I would love virtual reality to maybe play a part in that and have them kind of become part of the performance and get a completely
Yes.
different experience. I think it would just be amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. But
Yeah.
what is the you say you're working with a company who works with disabled dancers?
Yeah, so the company is a group of 5 learning disabled dancers. So some of them have Down syndrome or autism, different types of learning disabilities, and they are just like the most amazing people ever.
Really?
They are so creative. It's just a joy to be in the studio with them, and we tour in the UK and internationally. We have a project with another similar company in Germany, so we're doing a collaboration project. Yeah, so I've been working for them for about 6, 7 months, so not too long. Yeah,
And
that's
how
really fun.
amazing that, you know, that they have the possibility now to do this
Yeah,
art and to do ballet.
yeah. I think it also like really helps with their development. Like even for me,
Yes.
just being there for a short time, I can see like their communication skills and proprioception and everything has just come on so much in such a short amount of time, and it's really great to be part of that. They also think so differently to me, to everybody, and I think that often something that can be looked down upon, but I completely disagree with that. And I think it's something that should be praised and listened to because we can learn so much from everybody. So it's
Yeah.
just so great to be part of that.
It's something to learn from also, you know, that
Absolutely.
we don't necessarily have to have it this specific way, but then if somebody else does it and or somebody else's opinion or the way they express themselves, it's also something to learn from.
Absolutely. Oftentimes it's better to learn from because you learn so much more about other people and yourself. So I've learned a lot about myself in the past 8 months.
But you see, I think also this stereotypical idea of the ballerina and the ballet dancer, you know, and the physique and the feet and the everything. Yes, okay, that's fair enough, you know, if you go to professional level. But like you say, it anybody can do it. And it's, you know, even if you don't have all the this or the, you know, the functions or the
Yeah.
body or the coordination, but still you can attempt to do it. I think
Mm,
that's the important thing.
yeah. I still feel like there's a lot to be said about artistry over physique,
Mm.
personally. I think I would
Yeah,
much prefer to watch someone who was artistically brilliant, but maybe didn't have all the physical attributes that were,
yeah, absolutely.
the
Mm.
norm, rather than someone that was like physically beautiful, but then completely like nothing, no emotion. I don't want to watch that. And I don't think anybody was. Yeah, it's beautiful in like a 2D sense, I guess. But I think art needs to be emotive. And if you're not
Absolutely.
giving anything, what's the point?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. I totally agree with you. And I think as an audience member, you connect with that emotion that, you know, somebody gives. And for
Yeah.
me also sometimes I know sometimes I would uh, you know, connect with a dancer and then Suzanne would say to me, yeah, but what about that other dancer? She's, you
Mm,
know, perfect and the technique is perfect, but then I don't look at the technique
yeah.
necessarily. I look at what this dancer is
Yeah.
expressing on stage. So I think
Mm,
for maybe for other dancers who knows, you know, the technique and who are more critical on that. But for me, I want that connection.
yeah. And I think 90% of the audience are not going to be dancers
Yes,
and not going to know what they're looking at.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Mr. Peden at school who used to say, like, if from here up is like, if you're doing 100% here up, people are not going to look down there as
Yeah.
much. So you can
Mm.
mask a lot. obviously
Yeah.
you want good technique and you want to be healthy
Yeah.
and safe
Yeah.
and everything,
Yeah.
but like you can hide a lot from being a
Mm.
good performer, and I truly
Mm.
believe that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so wonderful that you as a professional dancer can now also, give back and do these types of things.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
I think that's something like when I was deciding what I wanted to do and I finally decided, I realized that for me, the thing that was really missing in my career was the connect between kind of like the creative person, the dancer, choreographer,
Okay.
and then like the administration, I guess. I always felt like they were people that enjoyed ballet and art, but weren't necessarily that in the know. And there was so many things that maybe didn't always work out for me in my career because there was like a disconnect between the two teams. And I really felt that I could kind of bridge that gap in my own little small way. And that's why I decided to kind of start my company, which is an art management company. And my motto is creatives helping creatives. Because I think, as you know, creative people think very differently to the rest of the population. And I think it's really important to understand how they work and then also kind of put on a business side of it, like this is possible, this is not possible, but keeping the artistic integrity of whatever that is. So that's kind of my goal and the way that I'm kind of helping in my own little way the arts grow and develop.
Well, Lewis, I believe in the power of one.
Good,
I
I'm
think
glad.
everybody, it's that little seed that you plant or that thing you do. Now, I think, don't underestimate the power of one.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
And I think there's a need for it. I think there's,
Mm.
I, especially with like the growing like smaller companies or
Yeah.
freelancers or project based work, I feel like there's a real need for people to have someone that can help them on a kind of admin management side of it, but also understand what they're doing like at the root and not having to explain simple things that they're doing because I already know what they're doing because I did that. I was on the other side. So I feel like
Yeah.
there is a market for it, and that's kind of why I
Mm.
went this way.
Well, I think the whole pandemic reset a lot of people's minds, and I think there's such a big change and also such a big change in the arts as well. And I think people have also realized how we all have something artistic to give, even if it's not being in the professional, artistic world, but
Mm,
we all have something to give. So,
yeah, definitely. I
yeah,
100% agree with that. And I think everyone should engage with the arts or dance or whatever it is, whatever
absolutely.
makes you happy. It's all about being happy.
Yeah. And I believe, I mean, this is why I do this project because my wish is that, art can be part of school, the education system and the curriculum,
Yeah.
all forms of art, so that children have the ability to express themselves and not, or we will always have these vocational schools and these elite schools for
Yeah.
art, but
Yeah.
it should not be excluded. Children should not be excluded and just be
Yeah.
focusing on subjects like maths and sciences.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of times schools or teachers don't always understand what dance or art can really give to a student. It's not just
Exactly.
about dancing, it's
Mm.
about creating a community, team building, communication,
Absolutely. Mm.
health, fitness. You can also add in topics onto dance so you can learn history through movement. And I think,
Absolutely.
especially in this day and age with technology the way that it is, I don't think children and kids learn the same way that they used to.
Mm.
Sitting down, writing things just doesn't work for probably 90% of kids. And I
Yeah.
think doing something physical and would really help them learn. I know it helped me. I think a lot of dancers learn kind of on the job, physically doing something rather than kind of sitting down studying. And I truly believe that a lot of kids these days are very similar. And I think technology has a lot to do with that. Attention spans are very short.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And if I think there's a dance teacher, Berenice, I can't remember her surname now, but I also did an interview with her, and she actually goes to schools and takes the curriculum and let the children choreograph something. And how amazing, and but she still has a struggle to get to the schools, to get the schools to open up, and give her the opportunity. But I just think how wonderful, and open up a new world for the children as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great introduction to the arts as well, and can really inspire kids, especially if they're maybe from a less well-off area or kind of situation. It can really inspire them to show, you can do it. There's places out there for everyone to dance, no matter what level.
But Lewis, what are the wishes for you for the future? What would you like to see happen for you?
Wow. How many do I get? Do I get
No,
three?
you get it. Like you go for it. You can make many wishes.
I think I wished that the arts was more inclusive, and I mean that in such a broad sense. I wish there was more diversity on stage, because I feel like that would open up the audiences to be like, oh, look, someone that looks like me is on stage. I can do that. Because I feel like that is missing, especially in ballet. I'm probably going to specifically talk about ballet because I don't have so much knowledge on the other art forms, but in ballet specifically. And also kind of accessibility to art, ballet in general. I guess it's still kind of considered elitist for a lot of people. And I don't think it is, but it has that kind of aura and stigma around it that it's elitist. Like, I have a lot of family members that have never really seen a ballet, even though I'm a ballet dancer and I've performed, and there probably was opportunities, but I think they think it's not for them. Which maybe it's not for everyone, and I don't think it has to be, but I think ballet is a space that can welcome everybody and tries to welcome everyone, but it's not always perceived that way. So I wish we could break that. I wish we could get more people to watch and enjoy ballet, dance, whatever it is. So that would be my number one. What would be number two? I don't know. There's so many things. I guess also about the schools. I wish more schools would bring in dance into education. I think it has, especially here in the UK, I think it could help so much with some of the strains that are already on our healthcare service we have a massive problem with obesity here in the UK, and I really think dance classes in schools could really stop that, or help to stop that at a younger age. And it's something that's not happening, doesn't happen. I think these two are my big. I guess funding as well. We need more funding, please. Come on.
Yes.
I'm sure everybody is going to agree with me on this. Funding.
But it's a cycle really that I think. I thought about it a lot, and also after talking to many artists, where funding is always the thing, and I've always wondered why society doesn't value that, because like a musician once said, somebody will go out and have a meal and pay so much money, but the moment they have to pay for a concert, it's always, it's expensive to go to a concert. But then you think, okay, but why is art not valued? And then you think, but maybe it starts from the schools, starts from there, where we say, if somebody plays if somebody learns to play the piano, they don't necessarily become a pianist, but they can value what piano music or what a piano artist, so that they can immediately understand why they pay for a ticket, because of, that they know a little bit about it. So I think it's that cycle, that if we don't start in education, then you cannot you cannot change it any other way.
Yeah, I was having this conversation or similar with someone the other week, and we were talking about that and bringing dance into schools for a health benefit more than anything else in this conversation. And I was trying to say that I feel like it also needs to be intercepted at different points, because if you teach a child how to be healthy, how to exercise, how to eat, but if that's not being kind of put into place at home, if that's not instilled into the parents' beliefs, it's not going to work. It's not sustainable. You need to kind of tackle both sides of that. So I think more kind of family days, maybe classes, to kind of get them interested into the art, and then maybe taking them to see a performance.
Absolutely, yeah.
Also, like musicals would be a great kind of in for a lot of people. They're more accessible in terms of they're relatable. The singing and dancing. Musicals are great, and musicals, there's actors and dancers. I just don't know how they do it. They're incredible human beings. It's a tough life, but I think that is a great way into the art. There's so many different things that need to be addressed.
Yeah, but we have to say it, when it's out in the universe, then it's out.
Yeah.
But Lewis, this was so great to talk to you again.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you too.
And I hope we hope we see you in Vienna one day.
I hope so too. I have to come visit soon.
Yeah, definitely.
And I love your podcast. Keep doing what you're doing. It's great to hear from so many different artists and different art places and people, and to kind of connect us all together in one place.
It's amazing. And it's amazing also how sometimes people do connect through the channel, through, because I think it's one huge network.
Absolutely.